Hey everyone.
Hello, greetings from Joshua Tree.
From Joshua Tree, we've just come back from exploring and it's been a fairly quiet day.
Super chill.
You know, we found a place where we could dump the blackwater holding tank and fill up some fresh water, and we found our campsite and we've just been here ever since.
And there's no phone service, so it's been really nice. Just literally being still, being quiet, being disconnected gives you a chance to really just reflect and got a lot of reading done today. We made some jewelry.
Yeah.
But it really, not having the electronics there to do work and distract you.
No distraction.
It really sets a pace for some reflection.
So, for me...
And it's getting cold.
It's starting to.
As you can tell by my outfit, not by his.
It's getting really hot, as you can tell by my outfit and not by hers. So, for me today, some of the things that came up are just resistance to, walking the path ahead where we are and what we are doing, what we're undertaking. There's that kind of incessant little voice saying, scurry back to LA, you could find a job there and then you can take care of the things financially that need taken care of.
This is like, so we're a week and 2 days into not having jobs and being out of the apartment.
Yeah.
And the programming's real,
and it's
deep,
very strong.
as shown by...
What have I got?
I'm not sure.
What was it?
I don't know. But
Haven't had a shower in a few days.
yeah, so go on. Talk about it.
Yeah, so, I could feel these two different paths. There's, on the one hand, you want to be successful, you could make it in a big city, you could have everything that you've ever wanted, you could have a nice house, you could be driving a nice car, and then there's this other voice that says, how is any of this important? How does it...
Is that really your definition of success?
No, but here's the thing. Even these programmed versions of success that we carry with us, they feel very real when they're challenged. It's like our very thoughts. It's like our own thoughts. Our thoughts feel... Hi. How you doing?
Hello.
Our thoughts feel very real when we challenge our own thoughts as well. And, as part of this detox, I know when we fasted before, as we got towards, day 5, day 6, day 7 and onwards, one of the things that I noticed was it went beyond the physical and it started to dig into the mental and the emotional and thoughts started going crazy because they were being shaken up, much like when you detox physically. Anything that's stored in the fat cells of the body, it gets released into the bloodstream and, it courses through the blood so it can be eliminated. And that's where healing crisis comes from. That's where the healing shock comes from. Something that I've noticed is a parallel with what we're doing. Detoxing from the institution, from the system, it's a mental process. But the same thing, thoughts that have been buried under distraction, hidden inside the cells of the brain that you don't look at on a day-to-day basis, they become very real, and it's almost like the fat cells are split open and the toxins get released. It's the same thing. It's almost like the grey matter gets split open and these thoughts are just coursing around.
It really
in your
shows
head.
you the programming. It's like it's breaking open those spots in the brain where the programming hides.
Yeah.
And the programming would say, oh, like today, we were sitting here making jewelry. We were sitting here making jewelry, and I looked at Boo, and I was like, Boo, we're those people.
We are those people.
We're those people that are sitting in the middle of the desert out there,
Barefoot.
Barefoot,
No shirt.
with our tea and
making jewelry and selling it. And yeah, that's...
And, I had to think about it. And after a split second of the programming wanting to take over, my rational mind and my heart said, I don't give a fuck. Because you know what? Not being those people and trying to be whatever I was trying to be, living amongst, the city and reporting to a job and commuting and just being in the grind, that was not doing it for me in the slightest. So
it's funny, I've just had a thought.
It's okay.
I've always looked at that particular type of guy, and I've never really noticed the person that he's been with, or whether he's been on his own, or the gypsy woman that he's sharing his life with. But I've always looked at that bearded, deeply tanned, leather-skinned, barefoot gypsy, big beard, sitting there making jewellery, and I've always had judgment in my mind for that guy. I've always looked at him and like, what went wrong? And today I realised I am that fucking guy.
Is that bothering you?
It did. It has.
What was your process there?
Well, I've only just realised just now as we're doing this video that I am that guy. That's why I've judged that so much, because it's gone against the programming that I've been given.
So you were repressing that aspect of yourself.
Definitely.
Interesting.
And it's no coincidence that I've ended up exactly as that guy. My skin's getting darker and more tan from being in the sun. My feet are getting harder from walking barefoot. I've got the big bushy beard. I've got the gypsy woman. And, that's where I'm at. So, I guess for me, what's important from here is being able to find a place of balance. So I was thinking about this. We just came back from a hike, and on the hike, one of the things that I was thinking about was, and I didn't express it to you on the hike, but it's incredibly easy to live in the system. Mm-hmm. And it's incredibly easy to live out of the system. Mm-hmm. The hardest fucking thing in the world is to have a foot in each. Mm-hmm. And that's what we want to do. We want to find this balance where we can move into the system and use the system, where we can hop on airplanes, where we can drive on the roads, where we can go into grocery stores, where we can go and visit our family, and we've got money to be able to do the things that we want to do. So half of our lives are part of that system, but then the other half we spend in places like this,
roaming around and free to go as we please,
dirty and grubby and not showering and being a little bit wild. And so it's our mandate to find that point of balance, and that excites me. Checking out of the system completely, I don't want that, because the people I want to help are in the system.
Right, exactly.
So
that's exactly it.
You can't be a wild desert gypsy man or woman, come down from the hills and say, I know the way, because no one's going to listen to anything you have to say.
Right.
You need to be a part of the system as well.
Well, that's the, I think the kicker that we're really missing in the world today, is that everything is either you're this or you're that.
Yeah.
And there's no fluidity and flexibility and ability to be whatever you are at any given moment.
Right.
Like, why can't I be a nomadic desert gypsy chick out here barefoot, but then tomorrow go take a shower and put on a dress and heels and go speak somewhere if I have to? I mean, why not?
So that's...
but society would tell us that no, you have to fit in some type of mold or something and play by our rules and listen to the rules. And, it's interesting because I just read this book, and it's like about the shamanic path to quantum consciousness and healing. And it's a very real aspect that we're going to start incorporating into our sessions with our clients, because it makes complete and total sense and aligns with everything we've come to know from our own experience. So it's really fascinating to just see that at play, in our own experience and paths, and with you guys, the clients that we work with, and seeing how the process unfolds with them, and watching the people around us.
Right.
It's quite interesting. So
I'm going to put this forward. This is our path, and things are becoming clearer to me, especially being out here and having to face those paradigms, having to shift those, having to face the programming, and deprogram, deconstruct.
Because you can't deprogram if you run away from it, if you're constantly distracted, and that's why it's so important for us to get quiet, and getting in nature is a key part of that healing. That's where it all starts. If you're not connected with nature, we can't.
You've got to open the vaults that those things are stored in, because the programming is wired into everything, and
it dictates every aspect of life subconsciously.
Got to deprogram from it. Sorry, I just heard a sound over there, and I wasn't sure if Maggie was into a rattler, because it sounded like a rattle. It sounded like a rattle sound, but it's just her leash dragging on the ground. So this is our thing from here. We're going to find this place of balance where we can dress up, put on a dress, put on a suit, tidy up, have a shower, probably before we put on the dress and the suit.
Maybe after. Just for shits and giggles.
And stand in front of 5,000 people and deliver a talk. And then we're going to hop back into our golden ticket and come out here and sit and drink tea and make jewellery. Because there's people out here that want to hear what we have to say too. And we want to walk in both worlds. We are going to walk in both worlds.
And that's why...
we do walk in both worlds.
We never know what or where someone is on their path, or what they're walking, or what they are outside of what we're seeing. It's like there's the story about the millionaire who dresses up and pretends to be blind and pretends to be homeless and watches how people treat him, and then finally when someone's nice to him, right, he gives them a bunch of money. Judgment. So it's a very real lesson in when we feel ourselves judging. Looking at what aspect of who or what we're judging is triggering us, and where that aspect may or may not be repressed inside of us.
Oh wow! So what you're saying is the wild desert gypsy guy that has always triggered me has triggered me and judgment in me because of the programming that I've been living under. And so I've looked at my true essence, which is this wild desert gypsy guy, and said no.
Yeah, because you were trying to fit in somebody else's mold.
Because everybody told me that's not the way to be.
Yeah.
And you know what my mind would try and tell me? Today, my mind has tried to tell me, you're never going to be able to help your mother. You're never going to be able to pay for your daughter's maintenance. You're never going to be able to do this. You break your teeth, you're never going to be able to see a dentist. And that's some of the stuff that has come up in my mind today.
But it's pretty unreasonable because, working 9 to 5 for someone else's dream, getting gradual increases in pay, once a year, and, no paid vacation and stuff like that. Like, how are you ever going to help your mom in that system? How are you ever going to be able to send your daughter more than, the minimum after rent and bills and all that stuff is paid? And you're never going to get out. Every once in a while, you'll be able to take a trip over to Australia to see her. You're never going to be able to get out living in that system.
Right.
In reality, when you look at it in reality, separated from the programming and the fears, you have more of a chance of getting out this way, where you're chasing your dreams and you're putting into action your intentions to manifest the life that we want. Because the life and the vision that we want, and the views that we have for our life, and what we're putting into place, and what is beginning to unfold and open up in front of us, will allow us the freedom financially and in numerous other ways to be able to do what we want.
It's kind of like when you're a caver and you're stuck in a cave because the way that you've come in has collapsed on you, and you either stand there scraping at the way you came in, believing that's the only way out, or you suck it up and you go deeper and you follow the river to the ocean. I've seen that movie.
And you try a different way.
Yeah.
Look at everybody and their mother were all like little rats working in the rat race, trying to get ahead, trying to get that cheese, trying to get some more cheese, right? Trying to get a bigger piece of cheese. And they keep dangling just enough cheese in front of us to keep us in the system, to keep us going. Something to think about.
Yeah.
You know, what does freedom mean to you? You know, and maybe, just maybe, when we get away from control and we trust and we ground into our roots and nature and we take the leap and we start doing something that brings wellness to ourselves and to the world, you know, maybe everything else, all the other channels open up.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on, you know, the financial aspects of things first, that's where we all get lost and go wrong.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
food for thought from Joshua Tree, from us. See you guys soon.
Bye all.